The fog hugged the hills like a thick, suffocating blanket. Alex parked the car at the edge of the crumbling driveway. The old gates of Waverly Hills Sanatorium groaned faintly in the wind, as if protesting their intrusion. The structure loomed above, a skeletal giant of brick and stone, its broken windows like dark, hollow eyes watching every step. Alex adjusted the flashlight and tightened the straps of their backpack. Urban exploration wasn't new, but the reputation of Waverly Hills had a gravity all its own. Ghost hunters whispered about strange noises, shadowy figures, and sudden, unexplained cold spots. Locals refused to go near it after sunset, and those who dared never spoke about what they'd seen. The main entrance doors were barricaded with rusted chains, but a side door, partially ajar, offered a narrow way in. The smell of decay hit immediately, a mix of mildew, rust, and something vaguely metallic like blood. Alex stepped inside. The beam of the flashlight cut through layers of dust, illuminating peeling paint, broken tiles, and long-forgotten wheelchairs abandoned in the corridors. The floorboards groaned under every step. Shadows twisted along the walls, dancing to the rhythm of the flashlight. Something scraped behind Alex. Heart racing. They spun around, but the hallway was empty. The only sound was the wind whispering through the broken windows. A shiver ran down their spine. This was going to be a long night. Alex moved deeper into the sanatorium, flashlight sweeping across the walls covered in peeling white paint. Patient rooms lined the corridor, doors hanging askew. The air felt thicker here, almost alive. They paused in front of one room. Legends said it was one of the most haunted in the sanatorium. Alex could see faint scratches on the door, almost like claw marks. They pressed the flashlight against the frame. A cold gust of wind slammed the door shut behind them. Alex jumped, fumbling for the handle. Whispers echoed through the corridor. Soft, unintelligible at first, then growing clearer. "Leave now. You don't belong." Alex froze. The voice sounded female. The air grew icy. Their breath formed clouds. Goosebumps prickled their skin. Every instinct screamed to run, but curiosity, that fatal curiosity, anchored them. A shadow flitted across the end of the hallway. Alex's breath caught. The figure raised a hand and vanished. Okay, this is definitely happening, Alex whispered to themselves. They pressed onward, entering the east wing. Broken wheelchairs littered the floor. On one wall, Old patient charts were pinned, faded names like Clara Whitmore and George Bell, barely legible. Alex ran fingers over them, imagining lives that ended in suffering and fear. Suddenly, the flashlight flickered. Darkness swallowed the hallway for a moment. When it returned, a figure stood at the far end, a pale woman in a hospital gown, face obscured by shadow. Alex's breath caught. The figure slowly raised a hand and vanished. The fear and curiosity warred inside Alex. But the tunnels beneath the sanatorium called to them. The network of passageways had been used to transport tuberculosis patients to the body. Chute. A grim exit for the deceased. Urban explorers rarely went here, but Alex was determined. A rusted ladder led down into the darkness. Alex's flashlight barely penetrated the blackness. The walls dripped with moisture. The smell of decay intensified. Every footstep echoed as if the tunnel itself were alive, breathing. A distant sound, like shuffling feet, broke silence. Alex froze. The sound moved closer, but when they swung the light, nothing was there. Heart hammering, they pressed onward. Halfway through the tunnels, they stumbled across an old journal. The pages were yellowed, ink smeared. It belonged to a patient named Margaret, dated 1935. The entries spoke of shadows that watched, whispers that followed, and a thing that lived beneath the hospital. Alex read aloud a line, voice trembling. It waits for the living, and it never sleeps. A cold hand brushed Alex's shoulder. They spun around, flashlight revealing nothing. Panic surged. They ran through the tunnels, the passages twisting impossibly, walls closing in. Whispered voices multiplied, dozens of them, murmuring, crying, screaming. The tunnel seemed endless. Alex tried to find the ladder back up, but the passages shifted, almost as if the sanatorium itself were alive. Shadows danced at the edge of the flashlight's beam. Shapes twisted into grotesque forms, human, like yet not. They stumbled into a large underground chamber. Rusted beds, broken medical equipment, and skeletons of wheelchairs littered the floor. In the center, a figure knelt. A woman in tattered patient gowns, head bowed. When Alex stepped closer, the figure slowly lifted its head. Hollow black eyes stared into their soul. Alex screamed. The figure vanished, but the scream had awakened the others. Ghostly figures emerged from the walls, corridors, and floor itself. Whispers became cries. Cries became screams, filling the chamber with torment. Alex ran blindly. Every corridor now identical. Something brushed against their leg, a cold, grasping hand. They stumbled, falling into a pit filled with broken tiles. Pain shot up their leg. The whispers circled, pressing in a crescendo of dread. In the deepest chamber, Alex discovered the truth. A wall covered in hundreds of faded photographs. Patients from decades past, each with hollow eyes and anguished expressions. The walls themselves seemed to pulse with life. A journal lay on a pedestal. Margaret's final entry: the sanatorium feeds on fear. It keeps us trapped forever. Alex realized they weren't just witnessing ghosts. The building itself was sentient, drawing in explorers, feeding on terror, trapping souls in its labyrinthine halls. A cold wind blew, extinguishing the flashlight. Darkness swallowed Alex. They felt hands all around, whispers in their ears. Panic turned to terror as the truth sank in. Escape was not guaranteed. Summoning courage, Alex ran, following a faint draft of outside air. Doors appeared where none had been before. One final sprint, and they burst through a side exit into the foggy night. Alex collapsed on the driveway, shivering. The sanatorium loomed above, silent again. No whispers, no shadows, just the wind. They glanced at their backpack. The journal was gone. Had it ever existed? Had they dreamed it? A faint whisper carried from the open windows above. Come back. Soon. Alex didn't look back. Driving away, they felt eyes on them from the hill, as though the sanatorium itself were watching, waiting for the next curious soul. The night was over. But the terror and the shadows of Waverly Hills would never leave. As the car disappeared into the fog, the shadows of Waverly Hills remained, silently waiting for the next curious soul, brave or foolish enough to enter. Remember, some doors should never be opened, and some stories are better left in the dark. If you enjoyed this chilling journey, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that will haunt your dreams. Comment below, would you dare to explore Waverly Hills Sanatorium at night? Or would you run the moment you felt the first chill? Your answer might just decide your fate. And remember, always keep your lights on tonight. You never know what might be watching from the shadows.